Joining me now to talk more about women's rights in South Korea and in the region as a whole is Sarah Liu. She's a lecturer in comparative politics at Newcastle University in the UK. Hello, thank you very much indeed for being with us, Sarah. Now, gender equality is a long way off in South Korea. Women earn quite a bit less. Men don't tend to do a lot of housework. There aren't many female CEOs, etc. Yet South Korean voters elected a female president in 2012. How do you explain that?
Well, South Korea is a very unusual case because if you look at the former president of South Korea, Park, she was actually a daughter of a former male political leader in South Korea as well. So she had that kinship connection that allowed her to climb up to the top of the political ladder. So her former position as South Korean president is no indicator of gender equality in South Korea.
What about other female leaders in the region? I mean, Thailand had one, Taiwan has a female leader. Why is that? And what difference does having a female leader make in terms of policies addressing gender inequality?
Many Asian countries, like the ones that you've mentioned, have quotas where a certain percentage of seats are reserved for women. So political parties are encouraged to nominate women. And that could be one of the reasons why we particularly see so many women in Asian politics. And generally speaking, women political leaders are more likely than male political leaders to pass women-friendly policies. For example, the president of Taiwan, Tsai Ing-wen, she's the first female president of Taiwan, and she has recently proposed gender equality and marriage equality laws. So Taiwan could be the very first country in Asia to pass a law on marriage equality. So that's one of the differences that female heads of state could make. However, in my research, again, shows that women's impact in Asia is very limited beyond political institutions.
And what about the role of, in terms of activism, the more female leaders there are, the more activism there is, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. Asia has made much progress in the political representation of women, but if you look at the actual impact of Asian women leaders on society as a whole, Asia's gender equality still has a long way to go. And my research shows that there's a big divergence between women's political status and women's social status in Asia. For instance, many Asian countries that have had women as female heads of state, as the ones that you mentioned, they still prefer sons over daughters. So when some preference still exists and women's social status continues to remain low, it's hard for women to envision themselves as equal to male counterparts.
You go as far as talking about a backlash. Tell us more.
Yes. So what I found in my research is that Asian legislators and actually created a backlash for Asian women's political participation. And one explanation could be that when gender equality doesn't improve, even when women become leaders, their presence becomes tokenistic. So female voters might not be satisfied when women politicians don't use their power to advocate for women's rights. For example, Taiwan's first female president, her cabinet only includes 4 women, which is notably fewer than previous cabinets led by men. And as long as there is a disconnection between women's political presence and what women actually do with their power in terms of advocating for gender equality, there is little reason for women to suddenly get inspired to be politically active.
So what needs to happen then for women in Asia to achieve real gender equality?
Asian countries need to make sure that both women and men politicians who claim that they care about women's rights are held accountable by proposing and passing women-friendly policies. Countries also need to make sure that these women-friendly policies are practiced in reality. For example, Singapore offers government-paid maternity leave, but do Singaporean women really go on leave? Or do women worry about the implications of going on leave, such as the potential to lose their jobs or the delay in their promotions? Individuals in Asia also need to challenge the gender norms.
All right, thank you very much, Sarah. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us there from the UK.